One of the questions that gets asked of me all the time is, how do you deal with crickets and cicadas? That creates a problem for continuity. If you are cutting shots together that were shot in different times of the evening, the crickets will be changing speed in the background. The idea of the process I'm going to show you is, first let's eliminate the crickets. Once we've eliminated the crickets, let's create a loop of crickets and put it back in. So let's have a listen first to a couple of recordings that have a fair amount of crickets and cicadas in them. So let's first address the cricket problem. So I'm going to send these recordings over to the audio editor so we can at least have a look at them and know what frequency ranges we're dealing with. We can see here that we're running 2 or 3 different harmonics of crickets and cicadas. These are most likely the cicadas up here, and these are the crickets, right? So you can tell the crickets are a repeating pulse that has some sort of pattern to them, whereas the cicadas generally have just a wash to them. I highly recommend, when dealing with crickets and cicadas, is that you process each in a separate pass. You'll find that the results are better if you select one, preferably the stronger one first, and reduce that one first, then go to the second one. So the first thing we're going to do is, let's listen to this.
Don't come back.
Let's attack the cicadas first, which are here. So we're going to use spectral repair set to strength 1 vertical, attenuate. There we go. Okay, so now
Don't come back.
Now the cicadas are primarily gone, but now we have the crickets. So I'm going to do the same thing here for the crickets. And like I said, I highly suggest you process them in separate passes.
Don't come back.
Now the other thing that we have going on in this recording is we got a little bit of rustling going on. So I don't want to reduce it too much, but I might want to keep a fair amount of the ambient preservation there, right? So I might dial that up to like 80, 90%, right? Now you can hear this.
Don't come back.
Took a lot of the movement out, which sometimes we want to do in production recordings, specifically if they're going to put a lot of Foley back in underneath this. So we just kind of want to clear out some of those feet so that we make room for the Foley.
Don't come back.
We have this little bump down here. I want to take out that little bump because it just doesn't belong. So I can actually switch this to horizontal and use attenuate to take the bump out. That technique also is great to take out if you have small mic bumps down in the lower frequencies. You can just select them using the selection tool around what would be a mic bump. This one's not very loud, but just select around it, right? Strength is set to 1. You're in attenuate, horizontal, and this is sampling from either side of the selection, as you can see by the little windows on either side. And that's really good for taking out those little mic bumps. There's an alternate process I can use to take this out, which is kind of handy as well. I can actually sample a section of the recording using ambient match. Let me learn this. I've now sampled a piece of ambience that I want, and then I can go in here and use output ambience, and I'm going to output ambience only, so it's not going to overlay, it's just going to overwrite. And I'm going to select that noise, and I'm going to hit render, and now that noise is gone. We have here a lip smack.
We know.
So let's actually take the lip smack out while we're at it. Mouth declick is usually handy for that. I will actually lower that down here to where you can see it. Let's use the vertical selection tool. Bloop. Set to 4. I think 5 is usually good. I won't need to click widening, but let's maybe take it up to a 0.5 and try that. Blink, and now
We know.
so the lip smack is gone, but we actually still have a little bit of a bump there. So once again, I'm going to use the ambient match tool set to output ambient only at 0 with the section I've sampled, right? And just go ahead and make a little box over that little bump right there. And then just render that, and that's gone.
We know who we are.
So I'm going to go ahead and send this back, right? And render these 2 files, right? Now, if we listen to
Don't come here again.
this one's a little low. We'll gain it up a little bit.
Don't come here again.
The movement is gone, the close wrestle is gone, and now what we have is just primarily dialogue. But now that we have stripped out the crickets and cicadas, we want to at least give the re-recording mixer the opportunity to put them back in. So I had previously created a piece of fill based upon one of these boom microphone recordings, and I have created a cricket loop that just goes underneath.
Stop trying to kill strangers. We know who we have to kill.
So this way, we have now gone through, stripped out all of the crickets and cicadas out of all of these recordings. We have cleaned up the specific microphones. We have de-wrestled them to take the movement out, and we've actually replaced the crickets with a separate cricket loop. This gives the mixer the ability on the stage to actually add more of the crickets, or pull them back, or take them out completely if there's another cricket loop they want to use instead. It just gives him a lot of choice. So you'll find that this technique is really good when dealing with crickets and cicadas.